What triggered our land management plan were a number of events. Firstly, the pandemic. Prior to that, very much the focus had been the buildings as the visitor attraction, and there hadn't been much consideration of the outdoor space, both immediately around the buildings, so the ornamental gardens, and then the estate beyond. And suddenly people couldn't go into the buildings, and our outdoor space became this massive resource for the local population, and it was people's escape. People come to Ushaw because of the history of the buildings and the significance of the architecture of the buildings. But there is as much history and as much significance in our estate. It isn't just about coming to Ushaw House and chapels, it is actually coming to our estate and us celebrating our estate and enabling people to engage with that in an informed way. And the same even with our tenant farmers, that there is history within the fields and they've got a long association with this place. And got a lot of information about what works, what doesn't work. I want that inside and outside experience to be connected from a visitor and from an income generation and from a sort of management point of view across the whole board. Putting all that together to try and sort of think about what we want to do space by space, that keeps changing. And the one thing is that with a land management plan is it isn't a set document, it's a live document that has to keep altering. And I don't think it will ever end, and that's fine. Keeping on top of that is quite difficult, but we are trying to sort of pull that information together alongside other schemes, and it's a complex jigsaw. It's sort of like trying to make a final picture of your jigsaw when actually what keeps happening is the colours of the pieces change constantly, and therefore you never get to what the final picture is, but you've got to try and fit it together somehow. We've had things that have arisen that we didn't even know about, or I didn't know about, that then send that plan on another journey that you think, well, if I'd known that was the case, I wouldn't have done this, but that's inevitable to some extent. So we have a sort of overall statement, I suppose, to say for the estate, which is about that we want to be seen as a good landlord of our land, and improve its quality both for the people and for nature, and for the environment generally around here. But how we achieve that from space to space is probably quite different. You have to always have something else on the go. I'd already got the funding for that, which is advantageous, but I'm already thinking about the funding like 2 projects ahead, not just the next project, but 2 projects ahead to give us time to respond for those changes. In terms of implementing your land management plan, one of the things is to think beyond your organisation and look for support beyond yourselves. So we have, for example, as well as Durham County Council have been really, really positive and really supportive with us. We have a number of advisors that are attached to our trustee panel, where there's people with various different backgrounds who've come forward to volunteer their time through sharing of their skills, which has been invaluable with some of that. And one of them, for example, is a land agent that's been extremely helpful. One of them's come from a biodiversity background, which has also been extremely helpful for us. And then also think beyond that and think about other organisations, such as I said, Durham University, Northumbrian Water, we've sort of liaised with on things. It's just not have to hold on to it all yourself and do sort of utilise the support that is out there. There's a lot of people who actually genuinely want to help. We've also been trying to look at some future potential working relationships with Durham University, and looking at particularly around soil sciences and trying to improve the health of our soils. And we are hopeful that there are some really good sort of schemes going to come out of that, where not only we're going to provide a place for students to come and practice, so to speak, but also for us to learn information about what we need to do to our soils to improve the quality of them and how to look after them better. We had just shy of 200 people from the community come and help plant those trees, and that was just from a call out on social media for people to come and get involved. And then what's been amazing to me is that we've had almost the same number come along and get involved in the maintenance, because one of the things we're trying to do is communicate that you don't just plant a woodland and leave it. It actually requires looking after and sort of development and replacement of dead plants that happens naturally. And we've had the same number of people that have actually want to come and engage in that maintenance, and they're learning about woodland management, which to me is fantastic.